You were not satisfying looking for this. Something else brought you here. A frequency, a pull, a quiet knowing that you could not name but could not ignore. And now that you are listening, now that these words are entering your awareness, something has already begun to shift. Because this is not information. This is not entertainment. This is a clearance. And it only finds those who are ready to receive it. Most people will scroll past this. Most people will click away within the first 30 seconds. And that is exactly how it is supposed to work. Not because they are lesser, not because they are unworthy, but because the nervous system that has not yet been prepared for this level of truth will reject it the way a body rejects a transplant it does not recognize. The mind will create a reason to leave. Boredom, skepticism, distraction. The phone will ring. The thought will come. Something more urgent will seem to appear, and they will go. Not because they chose to, but because something in them was not yet tuned to receive what is being transmitted here. But you are still here. Let that register. Not as flattery, not as some trick to keep you watching, but as data, as evidence. You are still here because something in you already knows what is about to be said. You have been circling this understanding for months, maybe years, maybe lifetimes. And now the words are about to catch up with what your body has already begun to feel. So let me be clear about what this is. This is not a self-help lecture. This is not motivation. This is not another voice telling you to think positive and watch your life change. What you are about to hear operates on a completely different level. It is a systematic unveiling of the architecture beneath your reality, the hidden operating system that less than 1% of the population has ever consciously accessed, not because it is secret, but because it is protected. Protected by its own nature. Protected by the very mechanisms that keep most people asleep. And what I mean by that is not conspiracy, it is physics. It is the way consciousness itself is structured. Here is where it begins. You have been taught that reality is something you observe, that the world exists out there, solid and fixed, and your job is to navigate it, to respond to it, to survive within it. This is the foundational assumption of nearly every system you have ever been educated by. School taught you this. Medicine taught you this. The economy taught you this. Even most spiritual traditions, despite their language of transcendence, still operate from this premise. They tell you the world is an illusion, but then they hand you a practice designed to help you cope with that illusion as though it were real. But here is what the 1% understands. And I do not mean the 1% of wealth. I mean the 1% of awareness, the fraction of consciousness that has moved beyond the operating system entirely. What they understand is this: you are not observing reality. You are generating it. Not metaphorically, not as a nice idea, literally. At the quantum level, particles do not exist in a defined state until they are observed. This is not philosophy. This is experimental physics. The double-slit experiment demonstrated this nearly 100 years ago, and the scientific community has spent every decade since trying to explain it away because the implications are too vast, too destabilizing, too dangerous for a civilization built on the assumption that matter is primary. Let that land for a moment. The very foundation of the physical world, the particles that compose your body, your walls, your screen, your breath, they do not resolve into form until consciousness interacts with them. which means consciousness is not a product of the brain. It is not an emergent property of complexity. It is the field from which everything emerges. And you, the awareness hearing these words right now, you are that field localized into a point of perspective. This is not a belief system. This is the literal description of what is happening at the most fundamental level of reality, according to the most rigorously tested theory in the history of science. Quantum mechanics has never once produced a prediction that was proven wrong. Not once. And yet, its deepest implication, that the observer is inseparable from the observed, that consciousness is foundational to the structure of matter. This implication has been systematically ignored, marginalized, and ridiculed. Ask yourself why. Ask yourself who benefits from a population that believes it is powerless, that believes reality is fixed, that believes the only way to change your life is to work harder within a system designed to extract your energy. This is not paranoia. This is pattern recognition. And pattern recognition is the first capacity that awakens when you begin to access this level of clearance. Now here is where it gets interesting. And here is where most teachings fail you. Because most teachings that touch on this subject, the ones that talk about manifestation, the ones that talk about creating your reality, they give you the concept without the mechanism. They tell you to visualize, to affirm, to believe. And then when it does not work, they tell you that you did not believe hard enough, that your vibration was not high enough, that you need to buy the next course, attend the next retreat, read the next book. And the cycle continues. You remain a consumer of awakening rather than an embodiment of it. But the mechanism is not belief. The mechanism is coherence, and this distinction changes everything. If this is landing for you, if something in these words is resonating with a truth you have been feeling but could not articulate, take a moment to hit that like button and subscribe so this frequency keeps reaching the people it is meant to find. Let me explain what I mean. Your body is not a single thing. It is a community. 37 trillion cells, each one performing thousands of chemical reactions per second. Each one communicating with its neighbors through electromagnetic signals, chemical messengers, and quantum-level interactions that science is only beginning to map. Your heart generates an electromagnetic field that extends several feet beyond your body. Your gut produces more neurotransmitters than your brain. Your fascia, the connective tissue that wraps every organ and muscle, conducts electricity and may function as a body-wide communication network that operates faster than the nervous system. You are not a machine. You are an orchestra. And like any orchestra, the quality of what you produce depends not on any single instrument, but on the coherence between them. When your thoughts say one thing and your gut says another, when your words declare abundance but your nervous system is locked in survival, when your conscious mind sets an intention, but your subconscious body holds a contradictory pattern, you are incoherent. And incoherence does not manifest. It cannot, because the field reads the totality of your signal, not just the part you are conscious of. This is why affirmations alone do not work for most people. You can stand in front of a mirror and say, "I am worthy" 1,000 times, but if your vagus nerve is firing a signal of danger, if your fascia is contracted around a memory of rejection, you cannot even consciously recall. If your cellular memory is running a program that says love equals pain, then the field receives a contradictory signal. And contradictory signals cancel each other out, like two waves meeting out of phase. Destructive interference. The energy goes nowhere, and you wonder why nothing changes. The 1% do not affirm. they cohere. And the difference is not subtle. It is the difference between speaking a language and being the language, between performing confidence and radiating it from the cellular level, between imagining wealth and having every atom of your being resonate at the frequency of abundance without effort, without practice, without thought. Because it has become the default state of the organism. So the question becomes, how do you move from incoherence to coherence? And this is where the clearance truly begins, because the answer is not what you expect. It is not about adding something. It is about removing what is in the way. Think of it like this. You do not need to teach water to flow downhill. You do not need to motivate it. You do not need to give it affirmations or vision boards. You just need to remove the dam. The water already knows what to do. Its nature is to flow. And your nature, the nature of the consciousness that you are, is to create, to manifest, to bring coherent intention into physical form. This is not something you need to learn. It is something you need to remember. And remembering in this context is not a mental act. It is a somatic one. It happens in the body. It happens in the nervous system. It happens in the space between your cells, where the intelligence that built your body from 2 microscopic cells still operates with perfect precision every single second of your life. What we have touched on here, moving from incoherence to coherence, from unconscious transmission to conscious broadcasting, this is only the surface of a much deeper system. If you are ready to explore the complete framework, including the 9 master frequencies and the step-by-step practices for clearing survival static and becoming the broadcast itself, you will find everything laid out in my book. Beyond the Frequencies, a quantum guide to consciousness mastery. It is linked in the pinned comment below. I want to ask you something. Where in your life right now do you feel the gap between what you know to be true and what you are actually living? Drop that in the comments. Not for me. For you. Because naming the incoherence is the first step toward dissolving it. Pause with that. The intelligence that turned a fertilized egg into a human being with 10 fingers and a beating heart and 100 billion neurons. That intelligence did not leave. It did not retire after the construction was complete. It is running right now. It is repairing your tissues. It is digesting your food. It is fighting infections you will never know about. It is maintaining the coherence of a system so complex that no supercomputer on Earth could model it. And this intelligence, this innate organizing principle, is the same intelligence that creates your reality. Not your conscious mind, not your ego, not the voice in your head that is constantly narrating, judging, planning, worrying. That voice is a tiny fraction of the total system. It is the equivalent of one violinist in an orchestra of thousands, and it has somehow convinced itself that it is the conductor. This is the great inversion, the fundamental misunderstanding that keeps most humans trapped. You think you are your thoughts. You think the voice in your head is you. And so you spend your entire life trying to change reality by changing your thoughts, not realizing that thoughts are the surface ripple on an ocean of intelligence that operates far beneath the level of conscious awareness. The 1% know this, not intellectually. They know it the way you know how to breathe. It is not a concept they hold. It is a reality they inhabit. And from that place, creation is effortless. Not because they do not act, but because their action arises from coherence rather than compensation. They do not act to fill a void. They act as an expression of fullness. and the difference in outcomes is staggering. Now here is where I need to say something that might be uncomfortable. And I say it not to judge, but to illuminate. Most people who are drawn to this kind of content are in a state of spiritual bypassing. They have accumulated enormous amounts of information about consciousness, about manifestation, about quantum physics, about energy, and they have used that information to build a very sophisticated mental model of reality. They can explain the observer effect. They can talk about vibrational frequency. They can quote studies and reference experiments. And yet their lives have not fundamentally changed. If that is you, I am not saying it to shame you. I am saying it because the recognition itself is the first crack in the wall. The information was never the point. The information was the map. But you have been studying the map so intently that you forgot to walk the territory. And the territory is your body. The territory is your nervous system. The territory is the felt experience of being alive in this moment, right now, with all of its discomfort and uncertainty and raw, unfiltered sensation. This is what the clearance requires, not more knowledge, but the willingness to feel what you have been using knowledge to avoid. Let me say that again, because it is the hinge on which everything turns. The clearance requires the willingness to feel what you have been using knowledge to avoid. Every spiritual concept you have accumulated, every framework, every model, every teaching, ask yourself honestly, has it brought you closer to the raw experience of being alive? Or has it given you a more elegant way to stay in your head? Has it opened your heart? Or has it armored your mind? Has it made you more present? Or has it given you a more sophisticated story about presence? This is not a criticism of learning. Learning is beautiful. Understanding is valuable. But understanding without embodiment is like having a key and never using it to open the door. And the door is not out there somewhere. The door is the moment you stop reaching for the next concept and simply allow yourself to be here, fully, without narrative, without framework, without the safety net of understanding. Breathe into that, not as an instruction to follow, but as an invitation to notice what is already happening. You are already breathing. You have been breathing this entire time without thinking about it. The intelligence I spoke of earlier has been managing your respiration, your circulation, your digestion, your immune response, all of it, without a single conscious thought from you. And this intelligence is not stupid. It is not mechanical. It is the most sophisticated creative force in the known universe. And it is you. Not the you that worries about tomorrow. Not the you that replays yesterday. The you that exists beneath all of that. The you that is aware of being aware. This is the level from which the 1% operate. And it is not a level you reach through effort. It is a level you uncover through release, through the systematic dissolution of everything that is not it. So let us talk about what needs to dissolve, because this is where the practical work begins. And I want to be specific, because vague spirituality helps no one. The first thing that must dissolve is the addiction to thinking. And I use the word addiction deliberately. You are addicted to thought the way an alcoholic is addicted to drink. Not because you are weak, but because the neurochemistry of thinking is self-reinforcing. Every thought triggers a cascade of neuropeptides. Those neuropeptides create a feeling. That feeling triggers more thoughts. And the cycle perpetuates itself thousands of times per day, creating a biochemical environment that your cells become dependent on. Your cells have receptor sites for these neuropeptides. And when the supply is interrupted, when you sit in silence and attempt to stop the stream of thought, your body goes into withdrawal. It creates discomfort, restlessness, anxiety, the urge to check your phone, to start a conversation, to turn on music, to do anything that will restart the chemical flow. This is why meditation is so difficult for most people. Not because they lack discipline, but because they are literally going through chemical withdrawal. And no one told them that. No one said, the first 20 minutes will feel like your skin is crawling because your cells are screaming for their fix. If someone had told you that, you would have understood the discomfort as a sign of progress rather than a sign of failure. You would have sat through it. And on the other side of that discomfort is a silence so profound, so alive, so intelligent, that it makes every thought you have ever had seem like static on a radio compared to the pure signal beneath. The second thing that must dissolve is the identity you have built around your wounds. This is perhaps the most challenging aspect of the clearance, because your wounds have become your home. The story of what happened to you, the narrative of your trauma, the identity of the one who was hurt, abandoned, betrayed, overlooked. This identity feels like truth because it is wrapped in genuine pain, and I am not dismissing the pain. The pain was real. What happened, happened. But the identity you constructed around it is not you. It is a shelter you built in a storm, and the storm has passed. But you are still living in the shelter, and the walls of that shelter are now the walls of your prison. Here is what the 1% understand about trauma that most therapeutic models miss. The event is not stored in the mind. It is stored in the body, in the fascia, in the cellular memory, in the patterns of tension and contraction that shape your posture, your breathing, your movement, your very relationship with gravity. And because it is stored in the body, it cannot be resolved through the mind alone. You cannot think your way out of a pattern that lives in your tissues. You can understand it intellectually. You can narrate it beautifully. You can explain it to a therapist for 20 years, and the pattern will remain. Because the body has not been addressed. The body has not been heard. The body has not been given the opportunity to complete the response that was interrupted when the original event occurred. This is what somatic experiencing reveals. This is what the cutting edge of neuroscience is confirming. Trauma is not a psychological condition. It is a physiological one. It is energy that was mobilized for survival and never discharged. It is a fight or flight response that was activated but never completed. And it sits in your nervous system like a coiled spring, distorting every perception, every relationship, every attempt at creation, until it is finally released. Not understood. Released. There is a vast difference, and this release does not require you to relive the event. It does not require you to tell the story again. In fact, telling the story can sometimes reinforce the pattern because it keeps the energy cycling through the same neural pathways. What release requires is presence. Pure, non-judgmental, embodied presence with the sensation itself. Not the story about the sensation, not the meaning of the sensation. The sensation, the tightness in your chest, the knot in your stomach, the trembling in your hands, the heat in your face. Whatever it is, wherever it lives, the clearance happens when you turn your full awareness toward it without trying to change it, fix it, understand it, or make it go away. This is the practice that the 1% engage in, though they may not call it a practice. For many of them, it has become so natural that it is simply how they exist. They meet every sensation, every emotion, every arising experience with the same quality of open, curious, non-reactive awareness. And in that meeting, the energy completes its circuit. The coiled spring releases, the pattern dissolves, and what remains is not emptiness. What remains is space. And space is the precondition for creation. You cannot plant a seed in soil that is already full of weeds. You cannot receive a new signal when your receiver is full of static. The clearance is the process of creating space. Internal space, nervous system space, energetic space, and from that space, reality reorganizes itself around your coherent signal with a speed and precision that the mind cannot comprehend. Tell me something in the comments. What is the one pattern, the one identity, the one story you have been holding on to that you know in your body it is time to release? Naming it here is not a small thing. It is the beginning of the discharge. Let me give you something tangible here, something you can begin to work with immediately, not as a technique to master, but as a doorway to enter. Right now, as you listen to these words, bring your awareness to the center of your chest, not your physical heart, though they overlap. The energetic center, the place where you feel love, grief, longing, connection. Just notice what is there. Do not try to feel anything specific. Do not try to open your heart or generate compassion or any of the things you may have been taught. Just notice. What is the texture of the sensation in your chest right now? Is it warm or cool? Is it tight or open? Is it moving or still? Is there pressure? Is there space? Just notice. And as you notice, you may become aware that the act of noticing itself changes the sensation. This is not your imagination. This is the observer effect operating in your own body. Your awareness is not passive. It is creative. It is the same awareness that collapses quantum probability waves into definite outcomes. And when you direct it inward, toward your own body, toward your own energy, it begins to reorganize what it touches, not through force, through presence. This is the mechanism that no manifestation teacher talks about, because it is too simple. It does not sell courses. It does not create dependency. It does not require a guru or a system or a 12-step program. It requires only you, your awareness, your willingness to be present with what is. And from that presence, coherence naturally emerges. Not because you created it, but because coherence is the default state of consciousness when the obstructions are removed. Now let me take you deeper, because there is a layer beneath even this that most people never access, and it is the layer that truly separates the 1% from everyone else. Everything I have described so far, the observer effect, the coherence of the body, the release of stored trauma, the practice of embodied presence, all of this operates within what we might call the personal field. Your individual consciousness, your body, your energy, your life. And working at this level produces remarkable results. Health improves, relationships transform, opportunities appear, synchronicities multiply. The external world begins to mirror the internal shift in ways that seem miraculous but are actually mechanical. They are the natural consequence of a coherent signal interacting with a responsive field. But beyond the personal field, there is something else. something vaster, something that the mystics of every tradition have pointed toward, but that quantum physics is only now beginning to describe. And that is the unified field, the non-local, non-linear, non-temporal field of pure consciousness from which all individual consciousness arises. In physics, this is described through concepts like quantum entanglement, where two particles separated by any distance instantaneously correlate their states. It is described through the zero-point field, the quantum vacuum that is not empty but seething with energy, more energy in a single cubic centimeter of empty space than in all the matter in the observable universe. It is described through the holographic principle, which suggests that the information content of any volume of space can be encoded on its boundary, implying that what we experience as three-dimensional reality may be a projection from a deeper, two-dimensional information structure. These are not fringe theories. These are mainstream physics concepts published in peer-reviewed journals and debated at the highest levels of scientific inquiry. And their collective implication is staggering. Reality is not what it appears to be. The solid, separate, mechanical universe that your senses report is a user interface, not the underlying reality. It is the desktop of a cosmic computer, and you have been mistaking the icons for the code. The 1% have learned to operate at the level of the code, not by transcending the interface, but by recognizing it for what it is while simultaneously accessing the deeper layer from which it is generated. And this is where the phrase "do not use this for evil" becomes relevant. Because when you access this level, when you truly understand that your consciousness is not separate from the field that generates reality, you gain a kind of leverage that most people cannot imagine. Not leverage over others. Leverage over the very fabric of experience itself. And this leverage can be used in two ways. It can be used in service of the whole, in alignment with the coherence that is the natural state of the field. Or it can be used in service of the separate self, in an attempt to accumulate, control, dominate, and extract. And here is what is crucial to understand. Both work, at least initially. You can use coherence for selfish ends. You can align your personal field with a narrow intention and watch reality reorganize to deliver it. People do this all the time. They call it manifestation. They call it the law of attraction. They call it success. But there is a cost, and the cost is invisible at first. Because when you use the creative power of consciousness in service of separation, you are working against the fundamental grain of the field. The field is inherently unified, inherently coherent, inherently whole. And when you use its power to reinforce the illusion of separation, to get yours at the expense of others, to accumulate while others lack, to control while others suffer, you create a dissonance within your own system that compounds over time. It manifests as anxiety that no achievement can quiet, as a hunger that no acquisition can satisfy, as a loneliness that no relationship can fill, as a fear that no amount of security can resolve. This is not karma in the mystical sense. This is physics. It is the inevitable consequence of running a signal that contradicts the nature of the medium through which it travels. It is like trying to send a message through fiber optic cable using smoke signals. The medium does not support the method, and the distortion feeds back into the sender. So the clearance comes with the responsibility, and the responsibility is not imposed from outside. It is not a moral commandment. It is not a rule. It is a recognition that your deepest well-being, your most profound fulfillment, your most creative and powerful state, is identical with the well-being of the whole. Not because you should care about others, but because at the level of the field, there are no others. There is one consciousness, experiencing itself through billions of perspectives, and what you do to any part of that consciousness, you do to yourself. Not eventually, immediately. At the level of the field, there is no delay between cause and effect. The delay only appears in the interface, in the three-dimensional time-bound projection that your senses report. This is why the great sages of every tradition arrived at the same conclusion through wildly different paths. Compassion is not a moral virtue. It is a recognition of reality. Generosity is not sacrifice. It is alignment with the nature of abundance itself. Love is not an emotion. It is the fundamental force of coherence that holds the universe together at every scale, from the quantum to the cosmic. And when you operate from this recognition, not as a belief, but as a lived, embodied, cellular knowing, something extraordinary happens. The personal field and the unified field align. Your individual signal becomes coherent with the signal of the whole. And the creative power that flows through you is no longer limited by the narrow bandwidth of personal intention. It becomes the creative power of the field itself, moving through you as you, expressing itself in forms and possibilities that your individual mind could never have conceived. This is what the mystics called surrender. Not giving up, not passive resignation, but the active alignment of the personal will with the intelligence of the whole. And from that alignment, miracles are not miraculous. They are natural. They are the logical consequence of a coherent system operating without internal contradiction. Now I want to address something directly, because if you have been listening carefully, a question may have arisen. If this is all true, if consciousness creates reality, if the field is responsive to coherent intention, if the 1% are operating from this level, then why is the world the way it is? Why is there suffering? Why is there inequality? Why is there destruction? And this is perhaps the most important question you can ask, because the answer reveals the deepest layer of the clearance. The world is the way it is because the collective signal is incoherent. 7 billion plus human beings, the vast majority of whom are operating from fear, from separation, from the unresolved trauma stored in their nervous systems, from the inherited patterns of their ancestors, from the cultural programming of systems designed to maintain control through division. The collective signal is a cacophony, and the field being responsive reflects that cacophony back as the world you see. But here is what changes everything. The field does not respond to majority rule. It responds to coherence. And coherence is exponentially more powerful than incoherence. One coherent signal can influence a field of incoherence far beyond what its numerical proportion would suggest. This has been demonstrated in studies on group meditation, where a relatively small number of meditators in a city correlated with statistically significant drops in crime rates. It has been demonstrated in the physics of lasers, where coherent light in which all the waves are in phase, can cut through steel, while incoherent light of the same total energy barely illuminates a room. You do not need to change 7 billion people. You need to become so coherent that your signal acts as an organizing principle for the field around you. Not through effort, not through evangelism, not through trying to fix or save anyone, through being, through the quality of your presence, through the depth of your alignment. through the unwavering coherence of a consciousness that has cleared its own static and become a pure transmission of what is true. This is the 1% level clearance, not a status, not an achievement, not a secret society, a state of being, a quality of consciousness, a way of existing in the world that is simultaneously the most natural thing you could ever do and the most radical act of transformation available to a human being. And it begins, as all real things begin, right here, right now, in this breath, in this body, in this moment of awareness that is reading these words and recognizing, perhaps for the first time, perhaps for the 1,000th time, that what is being described is not foreign. It is familiar. It is the home you have been trying to find by looking everywhere except where you already are. Let me offer you something now. Not a technique, a recognition. Close your eyes if you can, or soften your gaze, and for a moment, stop trying to understand what you have heard. Stop trying to file it into categories. Stop trying to decide if you agree or disagree. Just let the words settle, like snow falling on still water. Let them dissolve into the space of your awareness without needing to hold them. And in that space, notice what remains when the words are gone. Notice the awareness itself, the knowing that is present before thought, during thought, after thought. The awareness that does not come and go. That was there before you pressed play. That will be there after this ends. That was there before you were born and will be there after the body dissolves. This awareness, this is what you are. Not the thoughts, not the emotions, not the body, not the story. The awareness in which all of it appears. And this awareness is not personal. It is not yours. It is not contained within the boundary of your skin. It is the same awareness looking through every pair of eyes on this planet. The same awareness that watches a sunset and a sunrise simultaneously from opposite sides of the earth. The same awareness that experiences the predator and the prey, the lover and the beloved, the wave and the ocean. You are that, not as a concept, as the most intimate, immediate, undeniable fact of your existence. You are the awareness in which reality appears. And when you rest in that recognition, not as a practice but as your natural state, the personal field aligns, the static clears, the coherence deepens, and reality begins to reorganize around a signal so pure that it cuts through the noise of the collective incoherence like a laser through fog. This is not about power. This is about truth. And truth does not need to be defended. It does not need to be proven. It does not need to be believed. It simply needs to be lived, embodied, breathed, walked. And the world changes, not because you changed it, but because you stopped generating the distortion that was preventing its natural coherence from expressing. You were never the problem. Your thinking was the problem. Your identification with the small self was the problem. Your belief that you were separate from the field was the problem. And these were never really problems. They were stages, necessary stages in the development of a consciousness that needed to experience separation in order to consciously choose unity. You cannot choose what you have never been without. And you have been without your true nature for exactly as long as was necessary for this moment of recognition to carry the weight that it does. Everything you have been through, every heartbreak, every failure, every dark night, every moment of despair, every time you thought you were lost. It was all preparation, not punishment. Preparation. The nervous system was being seasoned, the heart was being cracked open, the mind was being exhausted of its own strategies so that it would finally be willing to surrender to something greater than itself. And that something is not outside you. It is not above you. It is not in a book or a teaching or a teacher. It is the intelligence that is beating your heart right now. The same intelligence that spins galaxies and grows forests and turns acorns into oaks. It has been waiting, patiently, not waiting for you to be worthy. You were always worthy, waiting for you to be ready, waiting for the moment when the noise would quiet enough for the signal to be heard. And here you are, still listening, still present, still breathing. The fact that you have stayed with these words for this long is itself the evidence. Your nervous system is ready. Your field is ready. The clearance is not something that will happen in the future. It is happening now. In the resonance between these words and your awareness, in the subtle shifts occurring in your body as you listen, in the almost imperceptible relaxation of tension patterns you did not even know you were holding, in the quiet recognition that something is different, something has changed. Not in the world, in you, or more precisely, in your relationship to what you have always been. Consider coming back to this tomorrow morning. Let these words wash through your system again before the day begins, before the noise starts. And if someone came to mind while you were listening, someone you know who is circling this same understanding, send this to them. That act of sharing is not small. It is coherence meeting coherence. Your signal reinforcing theirs, theirs reinforcing yours, and the field between you strengthening in ways neither of you could produce alone. That is how the collective signal begins to change. One coherent connection at a time. So what do you do with this? How do you take this recognition and let it permeate your daily life? How do you keep the clearance active when the world pulls you back into the noise? You do not do anything with it. That is the final trap. The mind hears a truth and immediately asks, how do I use this? As if truth were a tool. But truth is not a tool. It is a ground. You do not use the ground. You stand on it. You walk on it. You rest on it. And everything you do from that ground has a different quality than everything you did from the quicksand of illusion. So you do not need a morning routine. You do not need a 7-step process. You do not need to meditate for an hour, or journal for 30 minutes, or recite anything to anyone. What you need is to remember. And remembering, as I said, is not a mental act. It is a somatic one. It is the moment in the middle of a stressful conversation when you feel your chest tighten, and instead of reacting, you notice. It is the moment before you reach for your phone out of habit, when you pause and feel the impulse without acting on it. It is the moment when fear arises about the future, and instead of spinning into a story, you feel the fear as sensation in your body and let it move through you. These moments are the practice, not sitting on a cushion, life itself. Every moment of your waking life is an opportunity to choose awareness over automaticity, presence over programming, coherence over reactivity. And each time you make that choice, even for a second, even imperfectly, even clumsily, you strengthen the neural pathways of the new pattern and weaken the neural pathways of the old one. And over time, though time is not quite the right word, the new pattern becomes dominant, not through force, through repetition, through the gentle, persistent, compassionate return to what is true. And here is the last thing I want to leave you with. The deepest secret of the clearance. The one that cannot be taught, but can only be transmitted in the space between words. You are not becoming anything. You are not transforming into a higher version of yourself. You are not ascending to a new level of consciousness. All of those frameworks, while useful as maps, imply that what you are right now is insufficient, that you need to become something other than what you are. And that implication is the final, most subtle, most tenacious illusion. The truth is, you are already what you are seeking. You are already the coherence you are trying to create. You are already the awareness you are trying to access. You are already the love you are trying to attract. You are already the abundance you are trying to manifest. Not in potential, in actuality. Right now, in this breath. Covered over by layers of conditioning, yes. Obscured by patterns of thought and emotion, yes. But not absent. Never absent. Never for a single instant absent. The clearance is not about adding something you lack. It is about recognizing what was never missing. And that recognition, when it moves from the mind to the body, from concept to cellular knowing, from understanding to being, that recognition is the most powerful force in the universe, because it aligns you with what is true. And what is true does not need your help. It does not need your effort. It does not need your belief. It only needs your willingness to stop pretending it is not already here. Stop pretending. That is the entire teaching. Stop pretending you are small. Stop pretending you are separate. Stop pretending you are broken. Stop pretending you need to be fixed. Stop pretending the answer is somewhere else. Stop pretending the power is in someone else's hands. Stop pretending you do not already know exactly what I am talking about. You know. You have always known. And now the words have caught up with the knowing. And the knowing can begin to live itself through you, not as a project, not as a practice, as the most natural, effortless, inevitable expression of what you are. This is the 1% level clearance. Not because only 1% can access it, but because only 1% will choose to. Not because the rest cannot, but because the rest are not yet willing to release what the clearance requires them to release. The identity, the story, the familiar suffering that has become more comfortable than the unknown freedom on the other side. But you who have listened to every word, you who are still here, you who felt something shift in your chest, or your belly, or behind your eyes, you are willing, maybe not perfectly, maybe not completely, but enough. Enough willingness is all that is required, and the field will meet your willingness with a grace so precise, so personal, so perfectly timed, that you will wonder how you ever believed you were alone in this. You were never alone. You were never lost. You were never broken. You were always this, and now you know it. Not because I told you, because something in you recognized itself in these words. And that recognition is yours. It does not belong to this video. It does not belong to this channel. It does not belong to any teaching or teacher. It belongs to you. It is you, and no one can ever take it away. carry it quietly. Do not announce it. Do not perform it. Do not try to convince anyone of what you now know. Just live it. Let your coherence speak louder than your words ever could. Let your presence be the teaching. Let your life be the evidence. And if these words have meant something to you, if this frequency has resonated with something real in your experience, then stay close. Not to me, not to this channel, to the frequency itself, to the quality of awareness that these words pointed toward. Subscribe not to content, but to your own continued awakening. Leave a word in the comments, just one word. The word that arose in you as you listened. The word that captured something you cannot quite explain. That word is your anchor, your reminder, your signal to yourself that something real happened here. And come back. Not because you need more information, but because coherence deepens in community. Because the field strengthens when coherent signals come together. Because you are not meant to do this alone, even though the deepest work is always done in the solitude of your own awareness. You found this for a reason, and the reason is not what your mind thinks it is. The reason is simpler and more profound than any story the mind could construct. The reason is that you are ready, and readiness, once it arrives, does not leave. It only deepens. Welcome to the clearance. You have always been here. You are just now opening your eyes.